This might be a bit of rambling. It remains to be seen. Well, obviously, it's a little bit past Remembrance Day. It's November 13th. It's currently 5 to 2, or 1400 minus 2. And, it's increasingly hard to be heard and to be recognized in the post-internet epoch, especially for someone like me that pretty much has spent most of his life in front of a computer, and in preference, as far as social events go, as I get older, I'd rather be with dogs than I would with most people. That's a fact. Even certain members of my own family, I'd rather just be with the dog. That's the truth. And the more I say that, the more I see markers of atomized culture and existence. And after going through that interview, obviously I've talked to the recruiter and everything so far. I have to talk to them again, because there's people are being pulled in 15 different directions, and some people are just not retiring. They're just not retiring. They can't afford to retire. And if you think about capitalism and you think about Western society, if we continuously halt the cycle of life, right? This is symbolically why I'm wearing the AAR, the cycle, right? It's always a cycle. That if we're continuously attempting to prolong life and prolong or defer and negate and just put it off. We're not going to deal with that right now. We can't deal with that right now. We can't deal with the oncoming onslaught of mortality, because that's what it is. Even equipment has a lifespan. And I used to, at times, I'm very angry with the older generation, with whom are still in a position of power, quite honestly. And there we go. That's a little bit more on center. And to those of you who are paying attention, you are rewarded with my insights, as good as they are, because I'm just a monkey like everybody else, and I'm just happen to be a stupider monkey because I can't stand some social dynamics, and I can't stand being around incompetence or stupidity for very long. I can't keep up the nice person facade for very long. I really can't. All of these things that extroverts thrive on. I'm just not that guy. I can make friends with strangers. I can walk into a building and make good impressions. I can be part of a team. But at the end of the day, I'm just after my human, right? Like, if I'm gonna use my own life as a metaphor, is speaking from my own experience, because if you try to speak out of terms, it makes you look like a fucking idiot. So I try my hardest not to do that with all the research that I do for the history of propaganda. And I never expected my life to turn out like this. I never wanted my life to be like this. Um, I didn't want to have to fight people every single day with my own existence just to have a piece of the pie. When in fact, I can make a pie. I can make dozens of pies. I don't need to fight people over a piece of the pie. I need support. I need resources. That's what I need. I don't need people to tell me what to do. I'm highly independent, very highly self motivated. I can be left alone in a hangar and work on an airplane all by my fucking self and not destroy the thing. Okay, that's one of the things that annoys me is that there's this conflict between the economics of our society and the knowledge and the wisdom, right? We have this cognitive dissonance between the two of them. I'm going to use the Canadian Forces as an example because it's like, I'm looking at the budgets and everything and the spending cuts, and we're always looking for other people to give us solutions for our problems from faraway lands that know nothing of our culture, know nothing of our lives, even if they've been here their entire life. Their heritage is not here. They were not born here. They were not conceived here. And when we bend over backwards for these external interests, right? And again, here's another conflict of ideas and idealisms about humanity, about borders and about sovereignty and about dominion and commonwealth. And what is it to have a society? What is it to have a wider family? Because we have a hard time relating to other people outside of our own reach, which is just logical. It's just logical. And the disillusionment that happens upon knowing and reconciling all the things that you know with reality, and then it hits you differently, as the young people say, right? And it's not the piece of media or the piece of art that changes. It's you that changes through your life experiences. And through my life experiences, what I've learned is that this life that we're living right now, it's fucking dog shit. This Canadian life is dog shit. Like, what are we fighting for anymore? Why do we keep fighting for the same people? Why do we keep going headlong into these places that no one's ever heard of for the purposes of someone else? Why do we keep dying for people that don't care about us? Making sacrifices for people that don't even know we exist. I have a lot of these moments because, well, whether I like to admit it or not, London is my home. And I take ownership of it. Canada is my home, and I take ownership of it. Yet another concept, an abstract concept, that the hippies or the wooks in the crowd would say, "Oh man, you don't need ownership, man. Just have some of this ketamine and it'll blow your fucking mind. You won't even need property, man." retirement and spending. That's why books like this, these doctrines, they're out of date and they're out of touch. And I haven't even gotten through 50 pages of this yet. And then I can already tell how old it is. And that's the privilege of someone that's an academic, is to know the place and time and recognize them, but not impose current cultural values upon the past. You see, that's a huge danger, and we keep doing that. And we forget the lessons of those people and how they lived. So all of this money that's been cut by the liberals in a plan to save $15.4 billion over 5 years, from fiscal year 2023-24 to fiscal 27-28. It's very easy to get burned out on politics, you know. Now I'm reading from the Epoch Times, and then the end of retirement comes from the Walrus. No one wants to hear the truth, you know. That's the thing, is that communism works you to the bone. In reality, it works you until you're dead. It'll pull you out of retirement. It'll put you back in the line. And you'll be doing the same job until you die. Because of inflation and financial war. As CBS provided the answer during the committee meeting, where everything from personnel and equipment shortages to insufficient production of ammunition to the dire housing situation for military members was mentioned. The general was answering a question from Conservative MP Shelley Cramp Newman, who raised the issue of recruitment and retention and asked how the cuts would affect the ability of the Canadian Armed Forces to serve and protect. When you give money to the wrong people, they'll just ask for more of it, and they won't tell you why they need more of it. And I found it hilarious that, you know, they're cutting money so that they're not going to spend as much on consultants. So that's the next one. Fed spent $700,000 on consultants to get advice on saving money, which I found is hilarious, right? KPMG, where is this? If you want an answer, you follow the money, always. Savings from underutilized government spending will be shifted to priorities like healthcare and the clean economy. The interesting thing is about the clean economy is I read there was an article recently that people are not buying electric cars. And you know why? It's because they're too fucking expensive. Let's see. EV sales slump. It's from the States. This is from money.com, November 1st, 2023. Traditional automakers overestimated the current demand levels for EVs and are building more vehicles than they currently need. At the same time, the traditional automakers are losing money as they venture into EVs. Automakers are being forced to lower their EV prices to attract customers and compete with Tesla, but this approach is especially painful because they're already losing money on their EV investments. Ford, for example, lost about $36,000 for every EV it sold last quarter. $36,000. I wish I had $36,000 right now. You know what that would do for me? Like, I'm living below the poverty line here. Seriously. Ontario Works, the allotment that I'm receiving right now is, again, if I have to contest and try to get more, is under $1,000. Right? I'm not going to give you an exact number, but I live right now worse than a veteran does on their pension. Let's look at that pension. Canadian veterans. So looking at the disability pensions. So attendance allowance. Grade 5 is $340 a month. Grade 1 is $2,127 a month, 90 cents. Clothing allowance, grade 1, $241. Grade 10, $26.73. Canadian Forces income support maximum per month. Veteran or survivor, $1,952. Veteran with spouse or partner, $2,876. Additional amount for each dependent child, $417. Orphans, $894. War veteran allowance, veteran or survivor, $1,952.97. Veteran or survivor blind, $2,022.90. Veteran with spouse partner, $2,876. This is per month again. Disability pensions, class 1 through $3,200, 15 cents, $215.80 per month. Additional allowances for spouse. Exceptional incapacity allowance, grade 5, $567. Grade 1, $1,702. Education training benefit, years of service, 6 years, maximum amount, 46. $196. 12 years of service, $92,392. So if you're a vet and you're on your pension right now, hey, don't complain, because there's people like me who are fully capable of working, can't find a job, and are going to the food bank and live off of less than, I said 1,000. It's closer to $760 a month. And I'm an aircraft mechanic. And I can't help but feel that, irregardless of how nice people are in person, that the internet, rears its ugly head and tightens its claws, or lacerates even deeper with its claws of people's anxieties, fears, and intelligence, frankly, because, well, I'm out here in the open saying, that I don't care that what people think of me anymore. I'm still wearing my band like a dog tag, right, from the psych ward, because it means something to me, right? Even, it doesn't matter how I ended up there. The stigmas of these mental health issues, frankly, if that's going to be the reason, because I find myself being more aggressive and more defensive and more on guard, vigilant of possible threats when people aren't doing their jobs, or they're just complacent. Most of my proteins come from mutant. That bag of protein powder, the weight gainer, that's pretty much what I live off of, because that's the only thing that gives me enough protein. I can't afford to buy high protein meals. So the end of retirement. Where is it? So KPMG was hired to. I'm trying to look for it. It was here. There we go. At the end of the first article, specifically, KPMG was hired to develop recommendations to ensure Canadians' tax dollars are being used efficiently and being invested in the priorities that matter most to them, as first covered by Blacklock's reporter on November 6th. That made me laugh hysterically because, because have paid $666,000, 650 cents, 650 6,060. $669,650 to consulting firm KPMG for advice on how to save money on consultants within the federal government. That's like letting the fox into the hen house. Because they're not gonna be straightforward. They definitely won't. They'll tell you what it is and they'll say as to why. But then they'll nickel and dime you for the rest of their life, the rest of their contract. Because that's the way it is. That we're out of touch with reality, the entire society. We don't follow the doctrines of nature anymore. Because it is a cycle, it is a rotation. And if there ain't no bullets, there ain't no doctrine, there ain't no manufacturing, and if there isn't a core of skilled labor, then we're just in the same scenario as Germany was before the Second World War. Now, yeah. When people don't retire, there's no room for upward mobility or advancement. And specifically, I'm gonna mention this and put it in the public as it is right now. Okay, so I've been watching the job postings, and I've been watching the recruiting and so on and so forth. And obviously, as an aircraft mechanic, even if I'm not working, I'm offering something in my intellectual capacity here. There's just not enough turnover in the right places, and that's in conflict with trying to retain retrain some skilled people and tribal knowledge about certain things. But without death, there is no life, right? Because death is supposedly what gives meaning to life, with the constraints of time. And you won't know what your life is until it's gone. You know why I still wear this band? Because all the crazy people are out here. And all the sane people are in the psych ward. Because they actually felt something. The end of retirement. I encourage you to read this because, well, I'm getting to 26 minutes here. And I'll include these links in the description. There's not enough gold in my golden years, I told a client a few months into my retirement. I could feel him smiling sympathetically across the phone line. You're not alone, he assured me. Rents, mortgage, groceries. Canadians are suffering. I described the little house graphic on my gas bill. The house keeps getting smaller thanks to my ferocious vigilance, but the bill keeps getting bigger thanks to the cost of gas. And that's just standard housekeeping. Throw in the unexpected, like a family wedding or grown kids moving back home, and many retired people land somewhere on the spectrum of panic. Okay, according to BMO's 13th annual retirement study released this past February, Canadians believe they need $1.7 million to retire, up 20% from 2020 when they put in 1.4. The number is not statistically supported, but it's a good gauge of people's emotional preparedness for retirement and how anxious they feel. The third of Canadians who were worried in 2019 that they wouldn't have enough money has jumped to more than half of us in 2023, and 74% are concerned about inflation and rising prices. When I was younger, I had this thing in my head, and I was like, I'm not ever going to be able to retire. I think I must have been in my late 20s when I came to that rationalization and that realization. And it wouldn't matter how much I fought tooth and nail, because I would never achieve recognition. I would never get respect, and I might not ever see an inch of sunlight above the horizon and have my moment in the sun. Because I know what I'm worth, and I know what I am. And what I am is worth more than the rejections and the gatekeeping that I face, or the politics that I have to fight. Because the micro is the macro, and the personal is political on the internet. And you don't get to change. You don't get to escape, because even if it can't be held against you in a hiring process or some organization, like a corporate structure, it'll be held against you in other ways, socially or otherwise. And frankly, I have anxieties even talking to strangers because of this, because I don't want to get into larger conversations, but I'll still do it anyway. So what is the solution? Get in shape. We have a war to fight. And it's not like one we've ever faced before. And that's the truth. So help me God.